From the director of Leprechaun, welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
Great. That's all you need to know, honestly.
Yeah.
All he wants is a little bit of soul.
Hmm.
That's a pretty good
That's
one.
not what I thought you were going
I
to
gotta
say.
say, these are better than the Rob Zombie taglines I've been having to read.
I'm gonna be
Read
honest,
it
I
in
had no idea this was the guy that did Leprechaun.
Yeah, same director, and the other person attached to it is the creator, or maybe just somebody that was in charge of the animation for Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
Incredible.
they love.
What a good team.
Well, I
What a
was gonna
gathering of talent.
say, I was gonna say they love freaky little guys, but Rumpelstiltskin is not very little. He is
I mean,
he is alarmingly big for a little guy.
One of my favorite things is that they don't try and make him short or anything. They just have him squat down and try and walk in a crouch.
Yeah, I didn't like
Yeah,
that. That just made it worse to me.
I guess he was 5'6", and they were just like, well, we'll just make him be essentially walk around like a gorilla.
I mean, yeah.
It works. Works for me.
Yeah. Well.
This is episode 337 of I Hope You Suffer. Max Bergman. Let's jump to see if those boobs are fake, ladies.
Yikes.
I'm dead cop husband.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I am Matilda asleep in the back of her Cadillac for some reason. Or not Cadillac, convertible for some reason.
Look, she owns an antique shop, okay? There's not a lot of money in that.
She's also smoking stogies. I gotta think that makes you tired.
Yeah, she's a boss. We're going to talk about 1995's Rumpelstiltskin. A real banger that I'm glad is finally
Absolutely slaps.
somewhat widely available.
Oh my gosh.
Katie,
Yeah,
I discovered terrified of Rumpelstiltskin, so...
yeah.
Before we get into that, let's do our soda talk,
Okay.
because I'm fucking dying to drink something since I woke up. So
Let's
this
do it.
better be good.
Okay. We both have
Go ahead. I have to put my mic down to open this.
we both have orange cream Coca-Colas.
I had no
Blend.
idea such a thing existed. I want that.
Smells good. It literally just smells like orange cream. Meh, tastes fine.
I think the problem is that this just tastes like a cream soda to me. I'm not really getting the orange.
I do, but I think it's mostly the scent.
You know what you should do? You should buy vanilla Coke and mix them together.
It's not a bad idea.
Honestly, it kind of just tastes like vanilla Coke to me.
Well, then it's already a perfect drink.
It just, honestly, just kind of tastes like Coke if you were drinking it, but there was a creamsicle under your nose.
Yeah.
So it's you're
I wish-
smelling creamsicle, and so you're getting the idea that there's orange cream in it, but it's it just kind of just tastes like Coke. I mean, this is better than almost any of the other Coke's flavors I've tried, so...
Yeah, I mean, I do wish
Low
that
bar.
the orange
Yeah, I know.
flavor was stronger because I love orange. I just love orange.
Do you like orange and those chocolate oranges?
Yeah, they're
Gross,
literally
you're a
one of
nightmare.
no.
You're off the
They're
podcast.
They're literally one of my favorite things. I ate 5 of them
God,
in
those things
December
are
last
so
year.
gross.
No, I love them so much. I don't know. I feel like this is a good just a cream if you're wanting a cream soda. It does say orange vanilla flavored.
If you want to get creamed.
Tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that maybe the orange, just because I like oranges not strong enough. Maybe if you have a more sensitive palate, you'll pick out the orange, but it needs more orange. I'm gonna add orange bitters to it and see what happens. Oh, like a mixed drink. That'll be good.
I'm just gonna put a whole orange in there. Get like nice pulpy Coke.
Squeeze an orange.
Yeah.
That's the thing. My big problem with Coke, it needs more pulp.
Yeah.
Should
always
start
said
adding
that.
pulp to drinks.
Yeah, I've always said
all
that.
drinks.
Just
Pulpy
nice
milk.
Yeah, this is fine. It's fine.
Someone please make pulpy milk.
It's not. It doesn't. Gross milk.
You could even
it
have
doesn't
that title.
You know,
Yeah.
I often think when
Pulp
I'm
milk.
drinking things that it's not chewy enough. So
Yeah.
I think pulp would really fix that.
Yeah. If we added pulp to milk and then carbonated it.
That sounds amazing.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
A refreshing morning beverage.
I wish we would stop talking about milk on this podcast.
Never.
There's just so many ways to improve it. It's a bad drink. We're gonna
What
make
was
it better.
that? This might have been like 2 years ago. Do you remember? I can't remember which one of you it was had a dream about like ranch flavored milk.
I don't think that was me.
Sounds familiar, but I also
I don't
Don't-
know, Kit.
remember.
Rilk.
Sounds
I don't
good
know.
though.
Okay, anyways.
Rilk. Manch.
There you go.
Pass the manch.
Some-
Pour it on your eggs.
Ew. Anyways, let's move on.
yeah, Rumpelstiltskin,
No.
a banger. He likes Manch.
He does
Yeah.
he definitely likes
He-
the mother's manch.
He carbonates his manch.
He definitely does.
He's one of those the milk and Pepsi drinkers.
Yep.
Like this pilk.
Pilk. Okay. The guy that plays Rumpelstiltskin also like very much still looks like him, which
I was gonna say, I just looked at his picture and like they didn't even need to do makeup
No.
for him. Like that's just how that guy looks.
like really like literally though.
I wonder if that's how he walks.
Time to bring
Like
him.
just
Yes,
in real
I-
life.
He probably
I
is
think
after
so.
fucking 30-something days of having to walk like that for the movie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for making fun of him. That's just how he walks.
He is in a movie called Unbelievable with 5 exclamation points at the end, starring Snoop Dogg
Amazing. Exclamation.
and Michael Madsen. So you know it's good.
I
Oh,
mean,
Jeffrey
it's
Combs
gotta
is in this. That's
Hey.
Definitely no way it's just a cash grab.
oh
No.
Gilbert Gottfried.
What the fuck?
You know this movie's good when all these people are in it.
A murderer's row.
The crazy exploits of 4 offbeat astronauts who travel to the moon on a rescue mission to determine the fate of 2 space agency comrades who have not been heard from for 7 days.
Comrades, you say?
The
There
tagline
is
is a different kind of trek.
there is a Thunderbirds style puppet on the cover of this with a bunch of people and a horse that looks like it has buck teeth.
Oh my gosh. Snoop Dogg's name is Major Legrande Bush.
I'm adding this to
So-
the watch list.
I think it'll be great.
Yeah, gonna be perfect. Perfect film.
Yeah.
All right. So Rumpelstiltskin, Kit and I, obviously
let's
on board. I think like the night TerraVision put these Blu-rays on sale. Both of us were like immediately like, I don't have
Yeah.
money, but fuck it.
It's all I've wanted.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about this like getting an actual disc release for a while, so it's finally there. So we're gonna talk about it. And Katie, gotta assume was probably like, this
Loved
is
it.
fine.
No, it's your favorite movie of all time, right, Katie?
It should be.
Well, I do have some history with it, which is
It
that
introduced you to Manch.
yeah. And I've been afraid ever since.
This movie would be better if he just had like ranch like dripping all over him, like the Xenomorph has that weird goo.
Yeah. Anytime he like pulls his head off, there's just ranch pouring out.
No
Yeah,
blood,
I
it's
would-
just
I-
ranch.
Yeah, I would have preferred that to the maggots that he dumps out of his arm at one point, to be honest with you.
Eh,
Um,
we all got little maggots in us.
no, we
Whom
don't.
amongst us?
Eee. Um, Yeah, so like I thought Rumpelstiltskin was going to kill me for a very long time when I was little
3 years
because
ago.
yeah, up until 3 years ago. Because
We all know he can't get into Florida, so that's why you moved there.
yeah,
He's not allowed there,
exactly. Yeah.
legally barred.
That's exactly right. Um, which is good because there's no chaff here, so we'd be screwed. Um, th like I have like very vivid memories. So this movie came out when I was like 8, and I remember like walking through the dollar rental store that we used to go to, which at that point obviously was like only VHS. And I remember seeing the cover of this movie where it's just like him being all creepy, like peeking through a doorway, I guess. And he really, really scared me. And so like Rumpelstiltskin, as everybody knows, is like a fairy tale. And I don't know like how old I actually was when I like talked my parents into renting this for me, but I was like young. This is like not a movie for children.
Disagree.
And
The kids
so
love it.
they do. They love that old Rumple.
Yep.
And he is even today watching it, I was like, he's pretty creepy. He's got like spiky teeth. His yeah, like he's I don't like him.
I'm telling
And
you, it's the voice. If he had like leprechaun voice, you'd be like, oh, this is goofy and stupid. But him just
Yeah.
having like a weird regular voice is upsetting.
Yeah, and then like even at the end when he's all like crispy or whatever, he's got like very much like a demonic sounding voice. And I think that like as an adult, like I have not watched it since I was like since whenever it terrified me, just because like it's like I don't know, I never saw it really available anywhere, and I was just like whatever, I'll just in my memory it was really scary. And of course, watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like it's not overly funny, but it is kind of funny in that like the amount of times people wail on him with stuff and like he's just like actually doing shenanigans, you know? So like it is funny in a sense, but like being like young and watching it, having him be like a creepy guy that's like coming after babies, aka children or whatever, right? And then the fact that like they couldn't kill him and he just kept showing up to me was like very scary. And I thought for sure, even though I was 10 and did not have a firstborn child, I thought he was just going to come after me. Like, I just thought he could show up.
You never know when you're going to wind up collateral.
It's
you know?
so true.
And
it
getting
is
one
so
of your
true.
friends' babies or something.
Yeah, so, you know.
You just
and
can't
then,
be around babies. You don't know what baby could be the target of Rumpelstiltskin.
You don't know, you could be a Hildy, and you don't even know it. So, he just was really creepy to me. And then watching it again today, I was like, you know what? I feel like this is healing me because
gotta face your
I'm
trauma.
facing my fears, and I actually like, for the most part,
you've come out
really,
stronger.
I did, yeah. I'm stronger than yesterday. I liked it. Like there was some stuff in it that I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like let's move on or whatever. But for the most part, it's just like Rumpelstiltskin killing cops. So like,
I mean, it is essentially it's like Leprechaun, but instead of just being in like the one location, it's like a road movie.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like I think them being on the road and like giving chase or whatever, that part to me kind of like stretched out a little bit. But like, I don't know. Overall, I still found it pretty fun. Like the effects are like really good. Like I can very obviously see why when I was young I thought this was real. Um, well, you know. And I really liked the music a lot. It had that like weird like foghorn music that like Are You Afraid of the Dark has that like felt really nostalgic to me. So like overall I had a good time watching it, and I liked some of like the dumb shit he would say. Like,
well, anytime he's just
me.
like talking to himself, it's so funny. It's like just the most absurd shit. Or like I love when he's just like the biker comes up to him and he's just like, I forget how exactly how he says it, but he's like, "I need your steed," or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like, oh, a heavily armored knight. One of the ones I loved is he walked up to, there was like a 18-wheeler, and he was like, he basically said like, must have taken a lot of blacksmiths
Right.
to make this, and I was like, okay, you.
Yeah, this movie rocks. I think the Blu-rays are still available from TerraVision, but if not,
Yeah, I
like
think
it's
the regular edition.
like at least like rentable now, where it
Yeah,
doesn't really seem
It
like
just
it's just
it didn't exist
yeah, I like
for ever.
it feels like once this like left, the sort of like late night Cinemax or Showtime or whatever, like running it all the time in the 90s, it just like disappeared other than just like I was telling Katie that like I was like because I rented it on YouTube for her to watch it, and I was like, like technically there's probably free versions of it, but they're probably like rips of like somebody taped it from like on VHS from cable TV, so it's gonna be like unwatchable. That was just how it was available for so long, and I don't really know why, other than I think more than one company owned the rights to it for a while, because I know Mark Jones has been trying for a while to do a sequel, and just like nobody, like I guess he like Paramount, who is like owns part of it, was just like, nah, we don't really want to do this. I'm like, man, send him to space.
I mean, naturally.
I'm sure people have babies in space, so like let's go.
They definitely do.
You could just have that little girl that finds him at the end just is like an astronaut, and that's her good luck charm, and now she's in space.
Yep.
Yeah,
There you go, Mark Jones.
Perfect.
Did the work for you. Just give me
just
$300,000.
retroactively like just retcon the end of this where what's his name throws it into the ocean, but he threw it into space.
I believe Max could throw that.
I think so.
That's strong.
100%.
Have you seen his jacket? Like, definitely.
I forgot about his character almost entirely, because I don't think I had seen this since like maybe the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And like I forgot about his character entirely. So at the beginning, I was just like, I was like, man, I'm about to watch. I wish this dude's show was real. I want to watch this. It looks terrible.
Yeah, I was really curious. I was like, why are they first of all, why is she watching it? If whatever. But also I was like, why are they showing this? And then by the time he showed up, I totally forgot that it was even a thing until she like brings it up, and I was like, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
when she's just like, oh, I recognize you. I was like, perfect. And I like forgot that he was such a fucking vital part of this movie.
Yeah.
Like in my memory, like once I remembered the show and he showed back up, I was like, oh, that's all right. He probably is gonna get killed off like the minute Rumpelstiltskin shows up. I'm like, no, he's fucking a hero throughout the movie, I guess. Which is just good writing. Way to go, Mark Jones.
Yeah.
Let's get into this, because I want to talk about how insane these fire stunts are at the beginning and end of this movie.
I was gonna say also, like, one of the things that really stood out to me, like aside from the effects, were like so many stunts happen, like so many that I was like, damn.
They
got an 18-wheeler and they blew it up.
So apparently, when they'd set up cameras to do that 18-wheeler shot, like right before they're getting ready to film, like Mark Jones was looking at it and he was like, all right, hold on. I was like, I think you guys should move back or whatever. And they were like, no, we've, like the stunt people said we should be fine here. And he was like, no, let's just reset up. And everyone got real annoyed and had to reset up all the cameras. And, the stunt people were like, no, the truck will hit that wall and it'll just flip. It'll be fine. And the truck just barreled through that wall and would have killed everybody on set if he had not been like, let's move everybody.
Okay, so Mark Jones also a psychic magician.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I mean, he barely didn't realize this was going to not be a huge hit.
Yeah.
Could have put him on the set of the Twilight Zone movie.
What do you guys think? This or Leprechaun, which is better?
I think I'm gonna go Rumpelstiltskin.
I think this is better than the first Leprechaun. I don't think it's
Yeah.
better than like Space
Sure.
or I don't know. I feel maybe I would maybe put the one where they're like I think 3 is when they go to Vegas.
Yeah. 3, 4, and In the Hood. Like,
Beggars.
yeah.
God, we should
Unrivaled.
Let's do all the Leprechaun movies again.
Okay.
I'm in. It's almost March.
Yep.
That's true, actually. I'm gonna say Leprechaun only because I got tired of hearing that baby cry and it cried like the whole movie. So that's a no for me. I think that this movie does a better job at showcasing the creature though, because he's there. He's
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing. He like you see him almost immediately, and I feel like it's like a solid 30 minutes before you actually see Warwick Davis, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. Or
And
maybe
he's,
it's
like,
one of those
on
things you see a
screen.
little bit of him at the beginning, and then he's like not back for a while. But Rumpelstiltskin's there pretty fucking quick after his
And-
little like the past introduction thing.
after he's turned into stone for like a millennia. And also like, you
God,
know,
what a
I
dream
do
that would be.
I know.
Just turn
Right?
me into a stone and throw me in the ocean for a couple thousand
Yeah.
years.
All right,
Let me
let's do
sleep.
it. We talked about this when we were doing the Leprechaun movies also, where there's a lot of times where like the Leprechaun is like off doing his own thing, but you don't really see it until like later goofier movies or whatever. But this one is like we're seeing all his shenanigans also, which I like really appreciate because he's like kind of like an incessant stalker character, right? But we're actually like seeing how he happens to just like show up places. He's not just like showing up.
Well,
If that makes sense.
I think it's also like the thing with this is it's like there's a very specific like stalker movie sort of thing going on in it where it's like he's just
Yeah.
really just chasing one thing where like I feel like the Leprechaun movies just become like especially after that first one it's like well he's after like who like the one person has his gold but then just stumbles across other random people just as like cannon
Killing them
fodder.
for no reason. Yeah.
So it's like that's becomes more slasher stuff than like this is. This is like a little like basically the movie Road Games with a weird creature.
Fair.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, so
who wants anything else in their life?
I
Yeah.
don't know the answer to that. This movie starts, it says somewhere in Europe. Great.
Modern day.
Yep, the 1400s.
Yeah.
And there's like horses and dogs chasing something through the forest. I wrote tiny guy is running with baby. Obviously, I know the tiny guy. He's not very tiny. It is Rumpelstiltskin. He's got a
Yeah.
baby.
Large man.
Large man crouch runs through the forest.
I mean,
I don't like it at all.
I got bad news. I don't think he's much taller than either of you.
He's way taller than me.
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'2".
Well, he's 4 inches taller than you.
That's big. That's a lot. That's a mountain. So the baby's crying, of course. The baby's already fucking crying, and it's a minute into this movie. The mob catches up to him, and Rumpelstiltskin is basically just like they're like, give us the baby, and he's like, no, you gave me your word. I
Yeah, a
spun the
deal's a
gold.
deal. Like
Now I
that's
get
the
this fucking baby.
the problem with
No take-backsies.
with this movies is like
He's
like,
actually the victim here.
yeah, you made the
Yeah,
deal.
no one wants to honor their word.
This
Yeah,
movie
exactly.
should be 15 minutes long. Like, just go make a new baby.
That's what he says towards
He
the
says
end.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and I was
essentially
like,
free. Babies are free, as from what I understand.
America's healthcare system is so good, they essentially pay you to have a baby.
If you go to the
so-
hospital, you're leaving with a baby. They just hand you one.
That's right. It's
You just gotta ask.
Yep.
Like, I just went in there with a broken finger, and they just have a baby
Here you
now.
go. There you go. Okay, so yeah, he's like, you gave me your word. You know, this is our exchange of goods or whatever. And the woman is like, please, my baby. And the townsfolk try and fight Rumpelstiltskin, but like literally they start wailing on him. He picks up a guy and rips out his eyeball and then eats it.
Hell yeah.
I feel like this is the point
So
in the
sick.
movie where like I should have turned it off or somebody should have been watching me because he
Oh,
rips
like
the
as a
eye
kid.
out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He rips
it's
the eyeball
immediate,
out and then the eyeball is like moving around in his fingers and then he like eats
which
it.
doesn't make any sense, and it rules.
It's
No,
like
it's yeah.
number one, yeah, the fact that the eye's
What
moving, perfect.
you
But
ever
like,
you ever think like, what if it's not your eyeballs that move? What if it's just the pupils like floating around in your eye?
Yeah, I have thought
like
that.
this is like I would bet any amount of money this is one of those movies that like somebody like like 11-year-old like sneaks out at like midnight and sees on like Cinemax and is like traumatized for life.
Yeah,
Or
that's
like is
me
that,
except
at like a sleepover and it's like what's
yeah,
on.
yeah.
That was me with The
Uh
Vanishing.
Yeah. Well, that was me with I had already been scarred at this point by Pumpkinhead, and then Rumpelstiltskin comes along, so I really just thought creatures would show up and get
Are
me.
were you
They're
scared
out
of
there.
Rumpelstiltskin in general or just this one? Like if like the animated card like the cartoon from when we were kids came on, would that bother you or is it just specifically this movie?
I think it was specifically this. Like I wasn't scared. Like my only other point of reference I can say is like that Lord of the Rings movie, which is like creepy, the animated one with like Gollum who
Yeah.
looks sort of similar to a Rumpelstiltskin. Like that wouldn't even scare me. I think it was like actually this specific guy character playing Rumpelstiltskin.
Cuz I found like on Letterboxd when you like search it there's, like 10 movies that come up based on
Yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin. And I had these like really like visceral like flashback to whatever like probably like I'm guessing like 1985 animated movie of like seeing that as a kid. But there's like some weird like 1940s. There's one from like 1915 which I know is probably horrific that I'm absolutely gonna watch because Rumpelstiltskin looks absolutely terrible. Like, Rumpelstiltskin honestly actually just looks like Varg from Burzum on in the poster for this. So I'm
Well,
absolutely gonna watch this.
I'm gonna send you this like picture of this one. Yeah, because I think like my problem is that at that point I don't really know if I realized that like movies weren't real, if that makes sense. Like
This is news to me.
where whereas like a cartoon, I think I was able to like suss out that a cartoon couldn't hurt me. Like I don't remember really being scared of cartoons that much at that by that point, but um except like yeah, that Lord of the Rings one is like pretty fucking creepy. It's still creepy to me, but I think I find like rotoscope stuff like extremely creepy still.
Oh yeah, like because they have that like the realistic
It's like
motion
an
to them or
uncanny
whatever.
valley type. Yeah. Um wow, we sent each other very different photos.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that mine. He almost looks like he's doing like metal horns in the picture.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's rocking.
He yeah, just like looks like a regular guy.
Love
And
straw.
you know this is like a silent movie, but that person in real life has the most high pitched voice you've ever heard.
Hey guys, I'm here for the Rumpelstiltskin.
We had a
Now
deal.
Now I'm looking through all the Stiltskis.
There's a bunch. I added them all to my watch list because they all look absolutely horrific.
This is it? I don't know if this is out or not already, but apparently they remade it in 2025. Not remade specifically this movie Rumpelstiltskin,
Just a
but there's
new,
a
yeah.
Rumpel. Yeah, and he looks kind of like the guy from the. He
You
looks
know
like the.
this. You know this movie sucks.
Yeah,
I
he looks
assume
like
it's like Krampus.
he looks like
there's
the
just 1,000 other Krampus
creatures
movies.
that are how they remade Leprechaun for Origins or whatever. That's what he looks like to me.
He just kind of looks like Freddy Krueger with like shitty makeup. Like
Yeah.
he just has like that bald head and like burnt look, and that's it, and like a pointy nose.
Are you
But-
talking about this black and white 1949?
No, I'm looking at the
They look-
2025 one.
No. I meant earlier.
Oh no,
There's-
this one is from 1915. The one I sent you
Okay,
the
there's
picture
like a
from.
marionette puppet black and white version. I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
so.
I'm watching the shit out of that too. I'm
Okay,
gonna
I'm
watch
done
all
with
these
this.
because
I'm done.
they all look horrific.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so Rumpelstiltskin is like fighting the guys. He eats that guy's eyeball and then throws him over the cliff, which is great. But while he's like fighting the townsmen, the woman they're able to like steal the baby back. And a witch comes up and she basically is like, you are going to be punished for stealing that baby. And again, like, can we just go back to the fact that like he made a bargain with this person and said, "Hey, he was like, I will spend you gold if you give me your firstborn child." And the people said yes. He gave them gold, and then he came to collect the baby, and they're like, "I don't, what, excuse me, I don't think so."
Yeah,
So he's
like,
just trying to get what's owed to him.
and this one specifically, they're in the wrong. Like the the main lady we follow in like modern time, like she just was like holding a rock.
She was also, yeah, she was
like
a little bit more tricked into it, I
yeah.
feel.
So like I get it, but like this first one, like nah, you made that deal, you gotta stick with it.
Seriously. Also, it's the 1400s. That baby's probably not going to make it anyway. Just
Yeah,
like
that
give it
baby,
to him.
like,
Yeah.
probably got another 3 weeks in it anyway. So
Like literally. Okay, so basically she curses him for 1,000 years, and she says,
we'll make a Rumpelstiltskin remake, but like he can't find a baby because they're all full of measles.
Yeah.
gross. I also just realized, like, I know I'm not great at math, but if it's the 1400s and he is cursed for 1,000 years, and then the movie takes place in the 90s, that doesn't seem right. Anyway,
Yeah, that's 1,000 years.
she curses him for, she says, 1,000 years, a wish, a child, and heartfelt tears. That's what she says.
I think the idea, well, yeah, I think the idea is that like in 1,000 years he would like be set free, but if he like is found and like the lady's tear hits the rock or whatever,
Yeah,
is like
I
what,
also
like also open him up or whatever.
I also just feel like 1,000 years is a weird because like, so this is like, let's see, I don't know, like let's say 500 years later ish. He's immediately back to his old trick, so I don't think in 1,000 years he's gonna be like, you know what? I actually don't want to eat babies. You're right.
It's also like he's at full strength, which I feel like there should be at least one scene where like you just see him like eat a baby, just to like get back into it. Like I feel like usually what happens is they have to like rebuild their strength. So
yeah, no, he just comes straight out. And I also, okay, we'll talk about it later. Okay, so she basically says this chant, and then she says his name 3 times, which is Rumpelstiltskin. And so the whole thing with Rumpelstiltskin is that like, anyways, whatever, is that he has a crazy name. And so like in the original like story about Rumpelstiltskin, like the fairy tale, the whole thing is like, I'll set you free or whatever if you can figure out my name, because it's like Rumpelstiltskin's not a thing. That's not a name. How would you ever just pull that out of your ass if you don't know, right?
Yeah,
and so
I'm pretty
like
sure that was a common name in like the 1400s.
In this one, he is they have to like say this like whole incantation, and so at the end she says his name a bunch of times, and he catches on fire, and then he turns into a glittery little stone statue that I called Rumpelstiltskin, and then the witch throws him into the sea. Great, we get the title, which is cool. Now we are in Los Angeles. It's present day. We are introduced to 2 cops who are named Russ and John, and they are talking about how they're trying to come up with a name for his baby that is a boy's name, but also has to do with flowers. And John comes up with 2 names. One is Bud and one is Thorn, and they mercilessly make fun of him for how shitty the names are. And I was like,
that was better than John.
Also, okay, here's my question. Why did she name the baby after her husband's partner? Like, John is the other cop's name. So I
was
like, what?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wrote like all this shit outside of the cop dying. I do not care.
Well, I wrote
care
Russ.
About.
I wrote Russ, Shelley, and John. John is like the other cop who, where was he this whole? Anyways, they're trying to come up with a name or whatever. As Russ, then they stop for donuts, of course. Oh, and that's the donut train, if you were wondering. It's making a stop. And and so Russ calls his wife, who is Shelley, who was the one who's having the baby, and she's basically like, I need you to go to the store and get me marinated onions and ice cream so I can eat them together. Yum. And they're just like talking, and like as this is happening, Russ sees a woman with a baby getting carjacked. And as we said, Russ is a cop. So he drops the phone and tries to stop the guy from hijacking the car. The guy like pistol whips the woman, and then it slow-mos Russ being like, drop the gun. And that guy shoots Russ like 5 times.
Yeah, before he even bothers to shoot.
Yeah, before Russ finally is able to shoot the guy and just like shoots him in the back of the head and he dies. That's where I wrote, where's the partner cop this entire time?
Coming up with baby names.
Yeah.
Googling flowers.
Googling
manly flowers.
Yeah. So they cut to the hospital where Shelley shows up, and the police chief is like, oh, don't worry, this surgeon's the best, it'll be fine. And then the surgeon immediately comes out and is like, I'm sorry, he's dead. And I was like, wow. So she's sad, right? Of course. And then it cuts to like after the baby's born, and this is where I wrote, what is the baby named John? Because Hildy, who is me essentially, is Shelley's best friend, comes in and is like, oh, baby. It weirded me out that they kept calling him Baby John, too. And I was like, can we, like, stop? Also,
would you rather they call him Adult John? That'd be much weirder, Katie.
Well, he's not Adult John. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm confused about all of it. Anyways, so Hildy comes in, and this is, like, where Shelley had been watching this TV show that's Max something, where he has a bunch of like exotic dancer. Oh, are they topless dancers? Whatever they are. And he's like basically just being like disgusting and gross to like all of the women, and they're like, well, I don't know why you went on his show, but so Shelley is like disgusted by it and turns off the TV or whatever, right? So Hildy then invites her out for some junk food in a weird antique store, which I was like, immediately I'm in. Like, that's me. That's what I do. Junk food and weird antique stores. But, like, they go to the antique store, and it's, like, cool, except it is intensely cobwebby everywhere. And as I said, the shop owner is just, like, smoking cigars. And she comes up to them, and she's like, the store's closed. It's always closed. And
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
how you make money.
Really? And there's this whole, like, running joke with Hildy where, she's constantly like talking about, she's like, oh, I'm looking for a man, but I guess you don't have one for sale or whatever. She's always like talking about all her exes and stuff, which is like weird. Oh,
Rumpelstiltskin's there.
Ooh, yep.
Yeah.
Watch out, Kit. He's getting you. Shelley finds the Rumpelstiltskin, and what he looks like is essentially, they describe it as being jade with gold in it, but it's basically just like a round statue of him kind of like sitting, but he's a stone.
He's all like
skin.
crouched up, like he's in like the fetal position. And
yeah, kind of like a gargoyle
little ball guy.
He looks uncomfortable.
Yeah, that seems like the worst position to be sitting in for 1,000 years or whatever. But the owner is like, oh, that's not for sale. And she's like, there's a price tag on it. And she's like, no, it's not for sale for you. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that. It's magical and it grants wishes. And Shelley's like,
yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah. She's like, she didn't say like, this is cursed. She said like, oh, it grants wishes. You don't believe me. Trust me. You don't want that. And Shelley's like, actually, I do. And the store owner, whose name is Matilda, like we said, is basically just like, hey, can I interest you in a shrunken head instead? And she's like, no. So then it cuts to like, they're back at her apartment. She has bought the Rumpelstiltskin, and she does not try hard. If she was actually trying to get her to not buy it, she did a really bad job because she kind of did the opposite by saying like, oh no, you don't want that, it's magical, and then immediately selling it to her. So I was like, I don't really know what her intentions were at all, but it's fine. So back at the house, they're like basically like looking at the statue and like giggling over it, and Hildy decides that she's going to make a wish, and she wishes for a male exotic dancer with hairy thighs. Girl, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that is such a weird descriptor. Anyways, so that she's like, hee. Okay, well, I'll see you later, and Hildy leaves. Then the lighting gets all weird, and Shelley is talking to a picture of Russ, and it's just like, oh, I wish you were here so that you could meet your son, and I miss you, and I love you, and whatever. And so, of course, she does the one thing that you shouldn't do, which is that she cries directly onto the statue.
Yeah, don't cry on rocks.
Don't cry on rocks.
Yeah,
don't
it's
put
never
your
worked
blood. No, don't put your blood in gingerbread mix. Like, these are really standard things. I'm begging people to remember.
Keep all your bodily fluids to yourself, you know?
Yeah, keep it off of other stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
So she cries onto it. Its eyes glow, and it laughs. But it's kind of like puppety also. Like, it's like, waha, and it's like rubbery looking at this point.
Wouldn't it be weird if, like, you cry on it and it just turns to rubber?
Like, completely.
That's how rubber's made.
Yeah.
You need a
Very
certain
specific
volume of tears to make it like a real person. With just a few drops, it's rubber.
Yeah.
Someone's husband has to get murdered in the street, and then they have to cry onto the stone.
It's a state mandate that if, like, your spouse is killed, you have to spend 1 week crying
making
over
rubber.
rocks in, like, a factory.
Yep. And that's how rubber's made.
That's how we get
you know
tires.
that show? Exactly. That's why they're so expensive. So
one person had to die for these 14 cars.
That's right. Okay, so that night, Shelley is like reading in bed or whatever, and she hears the front door open, then she hears footsteps and stuff. She also doesn't seem super alarmed by this, and I was like, ma'am, there's somebody in your house, but it's whatever. And they open the door. It's Russ, her dead husband, and he says, Shelley, you're not dreaming. I'm real. And I was like, yeah, okay, you've convinced me. And she's basically just like, you know, goes up and is like touching him, is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And he's like, where's my son? And she just like looks over into the crib that's like right next to the bed, and he looks over there, and then they immediately start making out, and they do it. And I was like, your baby's right there.
That's a baby. It doesn't know what's going on.
I don't know. So after that, you know, she falls asleep. She wakes up, and she is like, here's the shower going, and she's like, Russ, and he's like, oh, I'm in here. And then when she goes into the bathroom to like opens the shower door to join him, it's actually Rumpelstiltskin. What a shock. He is.
I was stunned.
Grotesque looking. I was stunned. So does that mean that Rumpelstiltskin was Russ?
Yeah.
I think the twist should have been. I think the twist should have been that she had another baby, and it was Rumpelstiltskin's.
And then she steals it.
Yeah. And she's like, how's it feel, bitch? And he's like, bad.
What if it came out and it just looked like a regular baby, but it just had, like, Rumpelstiltskin's head? That's
actually, like, literally what I was thinking.
I want to see that movie.
So it's him, and he's like, ha-ha! And she's like, oh my god! You know, she's upset. She screams and runs away or whatever. And Rumpelstiltskin is just like, okay, so I granted your wish. Now give me your baby or guess my name. And she kicks him in the crotch and runs. And I was like, great.
Smart. The best first maneuver.
I mean,
just keep doing that.
Honest. Like, why not? He like chases her around the apartment and stuff. Okay, again, this is what I'm saying, like, people really are not holding back against him. She's like hitting him with the broom. She's like wailing on him. Well, first she stabs him in the head.
My favorite thing is she stabs him square in the forehead And then when that doesn't work, she grabs the broom to try and sweep him away.
I like
Like, that's
though
going to be more effective.
that he just goes, "Oh no, a broom," and just starts getting hit like it's a fucking
Yeah.
like really a problem for him.
Well, if you think about it, the broom could be made of hay, like straw back in the day, which he's scared of.
Yeah, but
It is
doesn't have
just
to be on fire.
Yeah, it does. It is just very funny though because I love like she's not uh meek at all. Like he's like, I'm gonna steal your baby, and she's immediately like, I'm gonna stab you in the fucking head, and she does it, and I love that about her. So she stabs him straight in the head. It looks like somebody getting stabbed in the head. Like it doesn't cut away. They show everything, and he's basically
It's a
just
really
like,
good effect.
yeah, he's basically just like, oh, you can't kill something that doesn't have a soul. He, and then he just like pulls the knife out. So this is when she like gets a broom and she's like fucking wailing on him, and he's just like, ah, like trying to like hide himself or whatever. And she basically like shoves the broom handle like into his throat and like shoves him into a closet or whatever. And she runs out of the house and and that's what I'm saying, like this is like one of the only movies I can think of where like the like heroine is actually like aggressive towards whoever rather than just like running. Like, I mean, obviously there are scenes where they like try and hit him with a shovel or something, but she's like stabbing him in the head, she's shoving a broom down his throat, she's hitting him with her car, she's like doing anything she can, which, I mean, I feel like that's what you have to do. And he ends up just like jumping out the fucking window. Okay. He lands on the car, she's like screaming and stuff and whatever, and he ends up, falling off of it or whatever. So the next morning, the cops come to...
Doesn't she run him over like...
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's in this scene or a later one, but I feel like he gets run over like 2 or 3 times.
He does.
Yeah,
I think
she absolutely crushes him.
Yeah.
Here.
And yeah, so the next morning the cops come to the apartment and Hildy's there, and she's basically trying to like describe what happened, and the cops are like, oh, it was probably just some kids on PCP. And she's like, no, this was a satanic little freak with pointed ears, is what she said.
Yeah, both of them wrong.
And
we all know Rumpelstiltskin's a Mormon.
That's right. And she's basically just like, doesn't tell the cops the thing about Russ because she, like, obviously, but the cops are like, okay, don't worry about it, like we'll figure this out, like you and your baby are safe or whatever. And Hildy's like, you absolutely have to come stay with me, my friend is coming, and she's a psychiatrist, so like you can talk to her about everything that's going on. So Shelley tells like Hildy and the psychiatrist about Russ, having slept with what she assumes is his ghost the night before and then being attacked by little freaker. And the psychiatrist is just like, oh yeah, thinking that you slept with your dead husband is totally normal. Like, don't even worry about that.
He's like, I slept with your dead husband last night.
I'm seeing him tonight, actually. And she's like, it's totally normal. Like, don't even worry about that. And Shelley's kind of just like, yeah, like, it wasn't a dream, though. Like, it actually happened. And the psychiatrist is like, it's fine. Also, I think this guy that's attacking you must be Rumpelstiltskin. Like, immediately, she just assumes it's this, like, archaic fairy tale guy. And so she gets a book, and they're, like, looking at the book. And Hildy's like, oh, I know about Rumpelstiltskin. Oh, yeah, he steals your firstborn child unless you know his name, whatever. And, like, why does everybody just, like, know about this?
To be fair, like, 3 years prior, there was a real-life leprechaun attacking people, so...
Yeah,
that's true.
You read up on your freaky little guy folklore at that point. You gotta. And they kind of just,
stay
like...
woke.
That's right. They kind of just, like, read the story about Rumpelstiltskin, which we've already talked about, and Hildy makes this really poignant point, which is that in the story of the Rumpelstiltskin, like the original story, it's a miller's daughter who has to like deal with it or whatever. And then Hildy's like, Shelly, wasn't your maiden name Miller? Miller's daughter. And I was like, okay, let's not. The dog starts acting up and is like whining and scratching at the door whenever. I really thought that they were gonna harm the dog. They do not. It's fine. But I was like sus about it for a minute. So it's like,
wasn't like Rumpelstiltskin's thing in like the cartoon or whatever? Wasn't it like have to be like a firstborn?
yeah.
Yeah, like so, like just have the one baby, give it away, have another one.
Well, I feel like the problem is that her husband's dead. So like, if he wasn't, I feel like she could just have another one.
She
But
go fuck another cop. She needs
I mean,
a
that's
cop baby
fair.
that bad.
That's
They're all over.
Fuck Rumpelstiltskin, have his baby.
Yeah.
what I'm saying. She
Rumple-
already did. That should have been the twist.
What if Rumpelstiltskin had like vials of sperm
Oh my God.
that he could hand out?
If this movie,
Like he takes the baby and he's like, "Here's
Here you go.
some cum for the next one."
was he Elon Musk?
Yeah, he's just mailing vials of sperm.
What if this movie ended with her realizing that she was pregnant from fucking Rumpelstiltskin as her cop husband?
That's what I'm.
That would have
that's what
been
I'm
a
saying
better
it should have
ending.
been. That's what I'm saying.
That's like, hear me out. That should be the sequel that Mark Jones makes.
Yeah.
That like now she has this child that's like half Rumpelstiltskin, half human. That's now like 20-something years old.
Yeah, I like it.
And you obviously call it Rumpelstiltskins.
Yeah.
Because now there's a father-son combo.
Gross.
I'm walking into the boardroom and I'm writing Rumpelstiltskin and then I'm putting the S as a $.
Yeah, I think that it is really maybe this.
It's
will
gonna make
be-
money.
Yeah, it will.
There's no way it doesn't.
This is my first fanfic.
Yeah.
Um,
This is my first
Rumpelstiltskin.
my first direct to Amazon novella.
Yep. 50 pages or whatever the fuck they are usually. Okay. What? Okay, the dog's acting up. The dog's fine. Don't worry about it. It's 1 a.m. now, and Hildy's like, I'm a working girl. I got to get to bed. And so she goes into the linen closet to like get linens so that Shelly can sleep on the couch or whatever. And when she like turns and walks out of the linen closet, we see that Rumpelstiltskin's in there. He just like pops his head out and he's like, "Hey."
Oh!
Yeah.
That he doesn't talk. He just makes like weird sounds.
Mario noises.
Hey, yo!
Way better.
It would have been.
Yick, 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 yick.
Or like,
He's
hey.
just making Three Stooges noises the whole time.
Yeah.
So he's in there. Nobody hears him though, so that's weird. Shelly is on the couch, like she's reading the rest of the story of Rumpelstiltskin, where she reads that the thing that can hurt him is quote unquote fire and chaff. And she's like, chaff, I don't know what that means. Then I forgot to also, well, I didn't forget. We didn't really talk about what he looks like at all, except for that he's got really sharp
Lumpy.
teeth and he's like lumpy. He's got sharp ears. He's also wearing, for some reason, like a leather kind of like gesture hat. Like the front of it is hanging down and there's like bells on it. So when he's moving
I
around,
don't know
it's
there
like
are bells,
jingling.
but
It jingles. It's jingle jangling. Maybe it's.
I just don't know why
buckles.
he would do that. You know,
Yeah,
Well, I don't know, but I literally wrote she hears bells.
makes it really hard to steal a baby.
Well, he's also popping out and going, hey! So I don't know what. He
Yo!
doesn't seem to have a problem with it. Anyways, I wrote she hears bells. Rewatch it. There's jingle jangling of some sort happening with him. And then the baby starts crying. And she's like, oh, because she like what they like keep having her like go to the bathroom and like take aspirin. Like she's like, like I don't know, it's a whole thing. So she's in the bathroom. She hears the bells. The babies cry. She runs into where the baby was sleeping, and the baby's gone now. And she's like, oh my god. But then she turns around and Hildy is there with the baby, and she's like, oh sorry, like
Whoopsies.
like he was crying and I was up, so I just like picked him up or whatever. She's like, "Oh, it's okay. I'm just like on edge or whatever." Rumpelstiltskin just like then all of a sudden busts through her bookshelf, fucking wrecks the whole thing, and is like, this is when he says, "Just give me the baby and make another one." And I was like, fair. But she is like, "Oh,
I mean,
no!"
that one's so new. You like haven't had time to get attached to it. So like,
Yeah,
just dump it.
fine. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Start fresh. Get a not murdered husband. Like this baby's only bad memories.
That's,
You know?
that
That's
is
what she
true.
gets for marrying a murdered husband.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like,
Stupid.
ask on the first date, are you going to get murdered? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Are you gonna get murdered a month before the baby is born?
It's like how, like, every episode of 90 Day Fiancé, it's always some fucking issue where they just never discuss any of these, like, serious issues, like, oh,
Do you want
do
kids?
you want kids or not? And there's always a problem. Like, none of them ever ask, are you
Yeah.
going to get murdered one day?
Yeah. I was checking your murderability chart.
It's high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See some
Here's
red
your-
flags.
I see
Here's
you're
your
a
star
Mercury
chart. This
rising,
is-
soon to
Yep,
be murdered.
exactly. Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. Water sign murder right below it. So I don't know. I don't think it's good. So Shelley,
I'm a murder rising, and you are a water sign. That's never going to happen.
no, yeah, it's not compatible, honestly. So Hildy is like, Shelley, run, take the baby, because, Hildy is like really supportive, and when Shelley is like, hey, I had sex with my dead husband last night, also Rumpelstiltskin is coming after me, Hildy's just like, yeah, that's no problem. And so when Rumpelstiltskin busts up her fucking bookshelf, she's just like, the only thing she can think about is like protecting her bestie. And so Shelley grabs the baby and runs. Rumpelstiltskin just fucking snaps Hildy's neck. And that's why we're saying
Wasted no time.
that's why we're saying just don't even be near the babies, because Hildy had
That's
really nothing to do
how
with
I've
it.
lived my life this far, and I'm still here. So
Yeah, neck unsnapped.
I hope no one in my family listens to this episode. Because as we record, my first niece is being born. So my attitude on babies is not for the
basically
public.
what we're saying is, Kit and I are on the hunt for a soon-to-be new co-host.
Yeah. That's,
You
well,
should keep-
you know.
Keep a bunch of straw
Yeah.
near that
I've
child.
got I've got my bag of shop right here, so
Katie's
I'll
got
be
a
all
bunch
right.
of like hay and a flamethrower sitting by the door just in case.
Yep.
Yeah. Better
Don't
safe
worry.
than sorry,
Local
Yeah.
woman burns house down thinking Rumpelstiltskin was entering her house.
It could be.
It happens.
It was on
We've seen
Halloween.
it.
Someone rang the doorbell to trick or treat. Katie burns her house down thinking it's Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Somebody was dressed as fucking 11 from Stranger Things. Local woman freaks out.
Local woman freaks out. I will say, usually, like, we get like 10 trick-or-treaters or whatever, and the last year we got more, but the year before that, it was like so scant that I just like, normally I would like sit by the door or whatever, but I'm like sitting there and I hear somebody pounding on the door, and it like scared me because it was so loud. And it was a trick-or-treater, and I hear the kid's mom say, why are you banging on the door like you're the police? And it made me laugh so hard, and I've thought about that ever since. Because then when I opened the door, she's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, it's okay, I get it. He's enthusiastic for the candy. But, like, the idea just made me laugh really hard. Okay. Anyway, I will not be burning my house down. It will be someone else's house, so I'll be fine. I'll be here.
Joker Car's house.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, poor Hildy, R.I.P. Her neck is snapped for literally no reason. She just wanted a man with hairy thighs, okay? And she didn't get it. Hildy.
Doesn't seem that hard to find, honestly.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, I feel like, yeah, no. Okay, so Shelley gets in Hildy's car, and yeah, this is where she like she hits him with the car, but she kind of just like clips him, and his arm goes flying off or whatever. He's able to like run over and pick up his arm, and this is where he like dumps the maggots out of it. Woof. So At this point, Shelley is like speeding off in the car. Like, I don't even know. She was set to go stay at Hildy's family's cabin. So I think that like initially she was on her way there. But this is where Rumpelstiltskin kind of like goes on his own adventure where he is like in the road. And after he picks up his severed arm and puts it back on, he encounters a guy on a motorcycle. And this is what we were talking about earlier where he was like, oh, an armored knight. And he like steals his steed, which is his motorcycle. And then there's just like a scene of Rumpelstiltskin riding this guy's motorcycle with with sunglasses on, which is really funny because it's nighttime. And he's just like listening to music and like living his best life.
Oh, yeah.
Just
having one of those like, fun driving around in the middle of the night.
Just a little funky
singing
little
Dashboard
guy's
Confessional.
Night. That's right.
The song that plays when he's riding the motorcycle is the best song I've ever heard in my life.
It's great, and I envision...
Can we just play it underneath us talking the whole episode?
Maybe if I can find it.
Yeah, go ahead.
That and Rumpelstiltskin Grinder also.
Yes.
Yeah. So, this scene actually made me laugh out loud. It was so funny because like as Shelley is like trying to escape from this freak, she's like driving like a bat out of hell. She like hits a fire hydrant and so there's like water spraying all over the ground. And so Rumpelstiltskin steals this guy's motorcycle. He's riding around, the wind's in his jingle bells. He's like having the best night. He's just really enjoying life. And then he is following her, obviously. He gets to the part of the road that their asphalt is wet, and he just fucking eats shit on the motorcycle. And it is so funny because it was, like, so unexpected.
And it's, like, I was like just the least amount of water.
Yeah, it's, like, not that much, but it's, like, so funny to me because, like, yeah, he's from the 1400s. He has never seen a motorcycle. He's never heard music like this. Like, the modern world to him, he's just kind of like, well, here I am. Like, he just knew it would happen. And so he, like, immediately knows how to ride a motorcycle and drive a car, which was, like, very funny. But him just, like, fucking eating shit for no reason is just so funny.
My favorite aspect of this movie, that he just knows how to drive a motorcycle. Even though he's from the 1400s.
Yeah. You know?
And a fucking 18-wheeler.
Yeah. So he eats shit on the asphalt, and it literally like skids so far. It's hilarious. Truck driver sees the accident and stops and goes over to Rumpelstiltskin and is like, hey buddy or whatever. Rumpelstiltskin just rips his head off. So the other thing is like, don't just be driving your cars around people who have babies either. So not only does he rip his head off, he also takes a cigarette and is like, don't mind if I do, and like smokes a cigarette. He's like literally,
he's living his best life.
He is. He's like
an Amish kid on Rumspringa.
Yeah. Yep. Well, like Nathan said, he's Mormon, so exactly. Oh, so then he approaches the 18-wheeler and he says, a good many blacksmiths to build this machine. Yeah. Or something like that, which I thought was fucking hilarious because, I mean, yeah, why not? So then he steals the 18-wheeler. Again, he can just drive the 18-wheeler, which is great. The next morning, Shelley is on the side of the road because the car that she was driving is like broken down somehow. And she tries to hitch a ride. His name is Max. I was writing pervert guy from TV. So Max, who is the
everyone
TV
named
host.
Max is a pervert guy from TV.
I mean, that's actually so fair.
Yeah, Max Weinberg.
I don't think I've ever seen a Max on TV that hasn't excessively talked about boobs. So that's fair. Yeah, like it's a huge part of the Goofy movie if you didn't know. So so the guy who was doing the topless dancer segment in the beginning or whatever, the TV host, happened to be going on vacation to camp, and he sees her on the side of the road and he pulls over and he's like all excited because all she's wearing is a nightshirt, because she was like going to bed or whatever. And he's like, women look great in underwear. And I was like, I mean, fair.
Thanks.
I don't think anyone's gonna like argue that, right?
Yeah. Not disagreeing, but weird to bring it up.
Yeah. So she basically is like, again, she's like fucking takes charge because he's kind of just like, okay, well, I'm like going on vacation. I don't really know what to do. Like once he finds out she has a baby, he's like, I really don't want your fucking baby in my car. And so she's like, he's like, there's never been a baby in my car. Like, I'm not really about it. And she's like, get in the fucking car and drive. And he's like, okay. So they drive off. She tells him about Rumpelstiltskin. And like, he also knows like the legend of Rumpelstiltskin, but he like obviously doesn't really believe that actual Rumpelstiltskin is like chasing after this woman, of course.
Stupid.
But then I
to
know. Seriously, because then Rumpelstiltskin catches up to them in the 18-wheeler, and I think Max refers to him as Rump Man, which I thought was pretty funny. And
feels like what would be a real fucking character in the 90s.
Absolutely.
I remember Howard Stern at some point was trying to do Buttman as a character.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Rump Man. And Rumpelstiltskin starts ramming into them. They're driving a Jeep? Question mark? I don't really remember. But there's like a boat attached to it, so he's like ramming the boat, and of course Max is like, my fucking boat. Then they're like off-roading for a little bit, and I don't know why this is always funny to me in movies where they're showing the outside of the car doing off-roading, like going over like huge bumps and like driving through water, but they're like ADRing the people yelling over top of it. And they do it with Rumpelstiltskin where he's like in the truck and they show the outside of the truck and it's just him going, ah, and I don't know why, but it was so funny to me.
He's always has this look on his face like and I'm assuming it's based on like it's the teeth prosthetics, but he's always got this like smile and also slight open mouth, like like it almost looks like he's screaming all the time.
Yeah, but then like so the actor has like these like piercing like yellow orange eye contacts in or whatever, but he's like naturally kind of squinty, so like the squinty eyes with like the perpetually open mouth, and it's just like very uncomfortable to look at. But so he's yelling whatever. Eventually Max and Shelly end up crashing the car, but like obviously they're totally fine because it's TV. They've pulled ahead of the 18-wheeler a little bit, so Max is like, I have this idea. This is the part of the movie, this is like such a mundane part, but this is the part of the movie where I was like, they are doing so many stunts because somehow there's like a go-kart and he like drives the go-kart off a trailer or whatever, but it's like vroom, and then he's just like, you know, gonna pretend that he has the baby so that Rumpelstiltskin will follow him, but like having somebody jump the go-kart off like a whatever, I just was like, they're nonstop doing shit in this movie.
Yeah, Mark Jones wasn't fucking around.
He wasn't. He was like a go-kart doing jumps.
Yeah.
So Max is like, has like a bundle of blanket and is just like, haha, I have the baby, and Rumpelstiltskin is like, give me my baby John or whatever. So he starts chasing him with the truck or whatever. Mark ends up like running out of gas like right over this like cliff, and it's fine though because then Rumpelstiltskin is like barreling ass like over this, you know, like curve or whatever, and just like goes over the cliff, and like right before he like goes down, he says "fucketh me," which I found very funny.
Well,
and then
the bundle from Terror Vision, you could have got a shirt that just said "fucketh me" as part of it.
Oh man, amazing. So then it like zooms in on his face and he says it, and it kind of like freeze frames, and then it pulls out and shows you the truck like bouncing down the cliff or whatever. And again, he's like, ah, like yelling. And then of course the truck explodes, and you know, Shelly and Max are like, oh, great, yeah, we did it or whatever. And a cop comes, and he's just like, what's going on here? And so they're like standing over by the cab of the truck, and we can see Rumpel, the Rump Man, and he is extremely crispy, but he's alive. And he's like, oh man, wow. And he's just like pulling chunks of like the charred flesh off of his face. And they're, of course, like freaked out, right? So they kind of like back up or whatever. And then for some reason, like, I don't really understand. Maybe I missed something that somebody said, but I don't really understand this point. But for some reason, Rumpelstiltskin like pulls his like own head off and then like holds the head over to the cop and like bites his neck open or
I think it's
something.
literally just like
Incredible.
just to do the visual effect. I don't think anyone says like he's just being a fucking weirdo. Like if you could pull your own head off, you'd probably do it at random times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like you're just
For
at
a-
the
for a
grocery
gag.
store, someone tells you to
As a goof.
someone's like, "Hey, you should smile,"
Well,
and you just rip your head
yeah,
off and throw it at them.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I need to be able to pull my own head off in that situation. But I just was like, I was like, I don't know, maybe I missed something. I guess I didn't, but that's fine. While he's doing that, Max ends up knocking Rumpelstiltskin's head out of his hand, so his head, rolls away. And he's like doing that bit where his like
It's
body's
like
trying to
talk
find
his
his head.
body into like where he's at.
Yeah,
Always
which
works for me.
Yeah, always love it. Keeps me coming back, that's for sure. Shelly and Max steal a cop car at this point. They drive to an abandoned diner where Max is able to like make them dinner because he had like all this camping equipment. And for some reason, Shelly finds the fact that Max was going to go camping like humanizing for some reason. And I was like, okay.
No, that's the opposite. If you go camping, I think you're a monster.
That's what I'm saying. So she doesn't really know what red flag, green flags are. But it was the 90s, right? Rumpelstiltskin, of course, just like catches up with them and is like peeking at them through the window. Max finds some creepy ass like straw doll in the restaurant and like gives it to her baby. And I was like, that thing, you don't even know where that's been. Here you go, newborn baby.
Yeah,
Take a whiff of this fucking straw doll
like
that we found in an
abandoned restaurant. Might as well just
Yeah.
been like, hey, here's this like spoiled mayonnaise jar to play with.
Here's a used syringe. Have at it. Rumpelstiltskin sees the straw doll and is like, oh no. Max asks like, so Shelly and Max are basically like, Max is like, okay, I totally believe you now. Like I saw him pull his own head off and he was fine, right? So this is definitely Rumpelstiltskin. And he's basically just like, how did he get to the 1990s though? And then finally, Shelly's able to put it together. She remembers the wishing stone that she got from the antique shop, and she's like, oh my God, like it must have been that. But then the cops bust in and arrest them because they think that they killed the cop that Rumpelstiltskin killed, which like is kind of fair because they stole his car. So they arrest Max and Shelly and they take the baby. In the jail, Shelly has used her one phone call to call the antique shop and talk to Matilda, and Matilda is like, oh yeah, I think I can help you. Basically, we just get a long scene then of Rumpelstiltskin coming into the police station and like picking off the cops, just like fucking killing them left and right.
Yeah, rocks.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And he ends up getting the baby after throwing a policewoman out the window. I think also throwing someone through a window also always gets me. That or like throwing somebody into a TV. Like it's there. So he gets the baby and he leaves. And of course, like the whole time this is happening, they're like shooting at him and it's like not really doing anything. And Shelly is like, help, we're trapped in here. And I was like, well, you're in prison. So yeah. Luckily, like one of the cops that he shot or somebody is able to like crawl to the cell and give them the keys. And he's like, you've got to stop him. And I was like, what? You guys don't know about Rumpelstiltskin. I'm so confused. Here go civilians.
I think it's so, like, I was dying when he's just like, you gotta stop him. Like, the cops, like, you civilians, please stop this creature.
People we arrested for killing a cop. Please kill this guy who also kills cops. So they steal a car and they're driving and like Max is like, I don't know if we're gonna get very far. Listen to the noises the engine's making. And Shelly's like, I don't think that's the engine. It ends up being Matilda, the antique shop owner, who is just passed out in the back of her own convertible, I assume. So like
Queen.
yeah, I'm honestly like the idea that she like drove to the station to help them. Like she gave them this stone knowing full well that it was Rumpelstiltskin, right? And then when Shelly calls and is like, "Hey, shit's going down," Matilda's like, "Ugh, okay, I guess." Drives herself to this police station and who the fuck knows where. It's like out in the middle of the desert or whatever. Doesn't make it inside. She's like falls asleep in the back of her own car. I mean, a queen.
What if
So,
that's just her home? You don't know.
that's true. I mean, yeah, sure.
Stay mobile.
Yep. And she's sleeping in the back of the seat. They wake her up or whatever. And this is when Matilda tells Shelly and Max that the reason Rumpelstiltskin needs to steal babies is because he doesn't have a soul. And he needs to, like, I don't know if they're trying to say that, like, he sucks the souls of the babies to continue living because he doesn't have one, or is he trying to take the baby's soul so that he'll have a soul and be alive? Like, I'm not really sure what the deal is here. But she's like, okay, the thing that you need to defeat him is fire and chaff. And they're like, I don't know what the fuck that is, because, you know, they couldn't just Google it. And Matilda's like, it's just fucking straw, okay? Like, chill. Also, like, one of the missteps, I think, is that, like, they have, like I said, they have Max find that straw doll at the restaurant, and it comes with them to the police station, but then it gets thrown in the trash, and they don't use it. So, like, you would think it was placed there for them to, like, oh my god, we have the doll, we can set them on fire with it or whatever, but, like, no. It's just a weird thing. Rumpelstiltskin is able to do magic to eavesdrop on them. Finds out that Matilda is like telling them the way that he can be stopped, and he like does magic to like choke her out essentially. But before she dies, she tells them that you have to say a chant, which is something that you have to repeat 3 times, and then she dies. And they're like, oh my god, like, what are we supposed to do? Luckily, they still have that fairy tale book, which tells them that in order to complete the ceremony, the baby has to be in a mother's arms and in a cemetery. And they're like, oh, great. Oh, man, that's great because, I'm here. I'm separated from my baby. I'm not going to be holding him or whatever. And then it cuts to Rumpelstiltskin just, like, putting the baby in the arms of a corpse. And he's like, a mother's arms. Yeah. I was like, all right.
It doesn't say the mother's arms.
It doesn't. Nope. Just
anyone.
Some mother's arms. Yep. And so they also realize the cemetery is like a cemetery nearby, so they're gonna go to it. So Rumpel puts the baby in the corpse's arms, right? And then he starts a spell that is going to free him, he says. And so Max and Shelly arrive at the cemetery, and they're like, oh, we gotta stop him. So they're like running up through, trying to like run through the tombstones and stuff, but he is using his magic against them. Like, he brings a corpse back to life, he's like trying to electrocute them or whatever, and they end up retreating because Max is like, we have to figure out something else. Meanwhile, I have like a vivid memory of this scene too. It shows like a panned out silhouette of Rumpelstiltskin just like dancing and singing in the cemetery, and I remember being like, I'm scared. He's scatting, so that was pretty scary to me at 10. So this is when they're just like having a conversation about like how to defeat him, and they realize that they know how to stop him. So they go to this barn that's nearby, and I could not remember that. It's not a plow. What is this called?
It's just like a fuck. You just like it. Just like
I know.
Asked me too quickly. Now I'm like, it just like left my brain.
brain stop.
Now literally all I want to say is forklift, and I know that because I know that's not right.
And I'm like, bobcat. It's literally like a plow, but for dirt. Okay.
I think it's like it might just be called like an earth mover, honestly.
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up because it was driving me crazy and then I forgot. Ooh, Earth. Oh, what fucking weird AI thing am I gonna get? Oh, I guess just tractor was the word I was thinking of, but a tractor can be lots of stuff. Excavator. Anyways, think of a plow, but dirt. And so they put a bunch of hay in that that front part, and they catch it on fire, and they drive up through the cemetery. Like, the problem with driving through a cemetery, though, is that there's, like, graves and stuff. So one of the wheels, like, goes down in a divot, and it gets stuck, and Max is, like, shifting it and stuff. Rumpelstiltskin is like, oh, no, they know how to defeat me. And for some reason, like, he runs directly out in front of where, like, the tractor is, right at the moment that it gets unstuck from the mud. And I was like, why did he do that? Because he was hiding and he was like, fine. And he just like immediately ran in front of it. Max is able to scoop him up in the hay that's on fire and calls him Rumpelstiltskin.
Incredible.
I am 100% convinced this entire movie was made solely to put that in it.
Just for that.
I think so.
It's the first thing written.
I'm like, cannot believe that I didn't think of it first, to be honest with you. I think it's perfect. And let's see. So he's like got him in the tractor, and the tractor ends up like ramming into a telephone. He's able to jump out or whatever. The telephone pole, he rams it into a telephone pole, and like which is also weird that there's one right in the middle of a cemetery, but whatever. And the box in the telephone pole falls down into the hay and electrocutes / catches him more on fire because it's exploding. And this is when he gets all like demonic sounding. What does that say? Oh, in pieces. He is demonic sounding, and he's also in pieces. So, like, he's kind of just a torso at this point. And he's basically just like, I granted you a wish, and you got your wish. And now you're supposed to be giving me your baby. Like, why? Like, you guys
he's not wrong.
Why does this keep happening to me?
I mean, like, he's not wrong, but, like, I don't know. This case feels more like entrapment than anything else.
Well, yeah, like, but so this is what, like, it seems just like one of those like unfair things, because it's like an unwritten rule that she like a unwritten pact that she entered, because she didn't know what would happen, right? She didn't willingly say like, oh, if you bring my husband back, I'll give you my son.
Well, yeah, it's also like, but she like, didn't realize if you held this stone and accidentally got a tear on it, that it would like
yeah. Because also, like, he technically was a piece of a statue. He didn't trick her into it. So it's, like, kind of like a lose-lose, because I feel that they're both sort of in the right.
She didn't even get a room full of gold. Like,
no, she didn't, like, enter it willingly, but also he did grant her wish, and you know what I mean? Whatever. So he's basically just like,
I don't know
man,
if he did. She didn't really fuck her husband. She fucked him.
Well, she thought it was the husband, though.
Well, they look the same.
No. Her wish wasn't even to have sex, though. Her wish was that, I wish that you could see your son. And she saw him, her husband, supposedly see the son. So that was just a bonus. He even, like, gave her extra stuff. So, like, really, she's being ungrateful.
Yeah.
Sex with a freaky little demonic guy, you know?
Like, literally, that is most modern women's dream based on the stories I see them read.
I mean, yeah, obviously. Wait, what did she call him? Satanic little freak with pointed ears.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty much any of the fairy smut
that's basically
that you'll find.
Any dude in the world.
Yeah. Satanic freak with pointy ears. Yeah, I mean, you know. So honestly, I'm not on her side anymore.
Yeah, she's the villain of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, how dare she?
Exactly. I don't know which ending I like better, if it's that this movie is the way that it is, and then at the end she finds out that she's pregnant. I kind of also like the idea of her just like falling in love with him. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, you want my firstborn? how about me also?
And then
It rates
they
itself.
murder and eat Max.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've got something here.
We
Okay,
should make our
so
own
he
Rumpelstiltskin where he's the hero.
I think yeah. Um Okay, yeah, so he's like really, really fucking crispy at this point. His voice is sounding a little demonic. He is in pieces, like he is just like a torso and a head and arms at this point, and he's like crawling towards her. And Shelly is like, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby?" And he's like, "I will never tell." And she's basically just like, he's like, "It's my baby. I'm gonna do whatever." And she's just like, "Whatever, fuck it." And she says his name 3 times. And because he was already burned, he turns back into his little like stone statue. Um, they're able to like hear the baby crying. They save the baby. Max throws the Rumpelstiltskin stone, the Rumpelstiltskin, into the water. It's kind of just like a shallow pond though when he like throws it in. And I also feel like maybe you should just keep it. Like you know not
Yeah,
to cry on it. Just put it
yeah,
in a
just
box and
stash
like
it away.
yeah, but
What does it
Literally,
say?
whatever.
just like
Keep throwing it
encase
in.
it in cement.
Give it to Zach Baggins'
No, don't do that.
Death
Post
Museum or
Malone will
whatever.
touch it, and then who
That's
knows what the fuck Post Malone will wish for.
Post Malone will cry on it and make rubber tires for
Maybe
his
that's how
new
Post
jet.
Malone got Oreos made after in his name.
I think so. Um, but no, these people just it's like Jumanji where they just continue to like leave the demonic item like out in the world for other people to find. Like, not my problem. I mean,
Yeah, I know better
um,
now. Good
and
luck.
then yeah, exactly. Good luck, everybody else. And so it kind of like pans out to Max and Shelly like walking out of the cemetery with the baby, having a good old time. And basically they're kind of implying that they're going to like go on a date and be in a relationship because having almost died, he's like not a piece of shit anymore. And she's like kind of into
Look,
him. And
people
he's
could
like, I think,
change, Katie.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just used to be a piece
he
of
used
shit.
to be a piece of shit.
he's not anymore. Yeah, he's an ex piece of shit.
Slick back hair.
He does wear
Lives
very
for
cool
New
clothes.
Year's Eve.
Again, look at his jacket.
He definitely
Um,
had chicken spaghetti at Ciccolini's.
Um, so yeah, whatever. It's kind of like do 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 do, at the end.
Yeah,
Then
we all love
I wish. I wish it started playing
Semi-Charmed
fucking
Semi-Charmed Life.
I tried to say that it was in So I Married an Axe Murderer. To me, it's in every movie.
I mean,
okay?
every song in So I
just-
Married an Axe Murderer basically sounds like that, but
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then it just says 3 years later, and it cuts to like these little girls finding the stone statue in the pond and like bringing them over to her mom. And she's like, "Oh, look at this thing I found. Can I keep it?" And the mom's just like, "Hell yeah."
I'm like, you
Never
get
would
rid of
have.
that
No
shit
mother sees that
immediately.
fucking thing and is like, yeah, take that home.
Yeah, no, it looks so
It's
fucking
horrific.
weird. Yeah. And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, sure, you can have it." And I was like,
Whatever,
but,
I don't give a shit.
but then it like zooms in on like the woman's holding a little baby, and the other girls are like, I don't know, 7 that are like, "Look at this thing I found." And it like zooms in on the baby, like looking apprehensively at the stone
Like
thing.
the
And I
baby
was like,
knows.
I'm also like, you're like the 3rd baby. I think you're totally cool. Like, they're not gonna. He's not gonna take you. I don't know.
Yeah, but
Anyways,
I don't think they ever in this specifically say firstborn.
I thought they did.
I don't think so.
I think it's just a baby.
Yeah.
Any baby.
They go pretty fast and loose with
Just a
the
baby,
idea of
any
like
baby.
Rumpelstiltskin's fucking plans in this.
Yeah.
It rocks. Everybody should go rent it or just buy it.
Yeah, I mean-
the Blu-ray release is pretty sick. And
Looks incredible.
TerraVision has at least some still on sale, so you should go buy it while you can. TerraVision will usually or sometimes releases good movies. Like everything I've bought from them rocks, but like they also release some shit where I'm like, no, thank you. But they do good work, so go buy it.
Yeah.
If not, go rent it on whatever fucking streaming service has it. Give Rumpelstiltskin all your money is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and your
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I finally rewatched it because it's pretty funny. It's fine.
Bangs.
Yeah, I can finally, after 37 years, stop being afraid of Rumpelstiltskin.
Are you guys excited for more than one Popeye horror movie coming out?
Yeah.
Oh God, there's another one.
There's at least two.
Why?
Because we need more public domain character horror movies.
Horror movies. It's not enough. That's for sure.
Yeah, just I just have it. I was like Popeye's Revenge, and then there's like Popeye the Slayer Man, and I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Oh, no.
Great.
Please stop. I do like when you look up Popeye though on Letterboxd. One of the first 5 searches that comes up is Baby Driver. For some reason,
Oh.
and Rosemary's Baby. Let's see if I gotta figure out what the alternate title is. It has Popeye in it for Rosemary's Baby.
Well, she is very skinny like olive oil.
Yeah, just big ass forearms.
Yeah.
Uh,
She's got anchor tattoo on her bicep, so.
I'm gonna re-edit fucking Rosemary's Baby with all that in it. Kit, what have you watched in the last, I don't know, 2 weeks? Whatever fucking the last time you recorded with us.
Not a whole lot, I don't think. Let me see. I gotta check my letterbox. It's the only way I know.
I know you went to see the monkey.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
monkey fucking ripped. I had a great time.
I was shocked to see it, for one.
I mean, it's Final Destination, but with a tiny little monkey that's horrifying.
Yeah, I don't like them.
What's not to love? It is extremely fucking creepy. Other than that, I watched Disembodied, which is real fucking weird.
What is? Oh yeah,
I don't even know. The Vinegar Syndrome or Agfa.
Bleeding.
Agfa
I think Bleeding
release.
Skull.
Bleeding Skull. That's what it is.
I need to
Yeah,
get to
I don't.
that.
It's a lady who's actually an alien because the alien like stole her brain and put it in a jar, and now she has a growth on her face that she spews acid out onto people to melt them down into a goo, and then she eats them and then turns them into a pod out of her stomach vagina.
Yeah,
It's real weird.
I believe Unsung Horrors did an episode on it, which is how Lance probably got hooked up doing the commentary for it, or like I think he's maybe like hosting the commentary with the director. So 'cause that's why I picked it up. I was like, oh, I'll fucking check this. That's Bleeding Skull, and then like Lance was part of it, so I was like, I'll check it out. And it's in my fucking pile of stuff still to watch.
Pretty good.
I am in Rob Zombie world for
That world to be
at
in.
least one more week, and then I'm done forever. Katie, what have you watched?
I caught up with Bob's Burgers, and then I discovered that they did a reboot in 2020 of Celebrity Ghost Stories, so I started that. The first one is Iced Tea and Cocoa, and it is great. Because he's like, I'm not a believer, but then when anything happens, he's like, I'm getting the shit out of here, which I respect. And like he's just like is trying to be so like straight faced, but then stuff happens and he like can't control his reactions to stuff, so it's like really great. I only watched a few episodes though. And then I watched Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is incredible. Highly recommend. Obviously that's my shout out. I think that's it really.
Yeah, I got nothing. I think the only newish stuff I've watched is we've been working our way through all the like weird SNL 50th anniversary documentaries and shit on Peacock that have been like hit or miss, but
Yeah.
I'm like endlessly fascinated by like behind the scenes shit at SNL for some reason, so it's been interesting. And new 90 Day Fiance, which features a throuple, which
Oh.
not gonna go well.
Yeah.
How many of them are trying to get their visa?
Just one.
Oh,
It's like
I was hoping it'd be two.
it's a couple
Like,
that I like,
one person trying to get two people over to America.
well, that's
Oh
the
my
thing that I
God.
was interested in is I was like, well, it's not like this couple clearly can't be married because one of them is going to have to marry the person trying to move to America. But
right.
it's there's only been 2 episodes so far, so it's not like nothing super interesting has happened yet, but I know they're going to be messy as fuck. Also, the traitors. Watching fucking Tom Sandoval be the dumbest and
Oh
somehow
my God.
still survive. Like, every episode, he's like, I know so-and-so is the traitor, and you're like, no, they are not. You're fucking stupid.
It's the best.
But also, everyone I like has been kicked off so far, so I'm like wildly uninterested in who wins.
Ugh. And also, spoiler alert, if anyone's watching The Traitors, spoiler alert, dip out right now. Danielle sucks.
Yeah,
She
she's
sucks
the
so bad
worst.
at this. Oh my God.
I wanted Carolyn to stay so bad.
Yeah.
Because, like, I have not made it to her seasons. She was on one of the last couple seasons of Survivor. And, like, the first episode of Traitors, I was like, oh, I don't like this lady. But then she grew on me. And then, like, they were talking about her on Knowledge Fight because, like, Dan, like, binged through every season of Survivor in, like, a month. While just doing, like, shit for the show. And like
Yeah.
he was like, honestly, she might be the best Survivor player because no one takes her seriously, and that's how she just like keeps staying around. And it worked for a little bit on the Traitors, but like my issue with this season is like literally every traitor has been selling each other out immediately, and I hate it.
They're all so bad. Just like, no, fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of my fellow traitor.
Like
right
making
now.
Boston Rob a traitor
Immediately.
was a terrible idea because everyone already you're going to immediately suspect he's a traitor because he's like the most notorious fucking Survivor player, and so he gets in there and immediately starts being like, well, we gotta get these other traitors out. And it's like, god damn it, it sucks. At this point I don't even give a fuck who wins. Maybe Zac Efron's brother, I guess. I don't know.
If it's Brittany, I'm gonna be so
no. I
sad.
desperately. The only thing I'm hoping for is that Brittany ends up selling out Danielle, or says no, and then Danielle has to murder her in like the next episode.
Yeah.
Or the next season, make the murders for real.
Yeah.
You gotta actually murder them.
I'll watch it.
They
then.
literally like it drives me crazy because they have like. They do a thing, and this is mostly for Katie's sake, who's not watched the show, where, like, you know, the traitors get to murder one person each night or whatever. And so they do a thing the next day where everyone comes into, like, the breakfast room, like, 1 or 2 people at a time to just, like, see, you know, who's still there. And, like, it never fails that someone starts crying, and I'm like, they're not dead for real. Like, you can talk to them in like a week when the show's over. It's fine.
Yeah.
But there's always like somebody that's just it's always either a traitor who's trying to like act not suspicious, but also like bawling.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so hurt by
being
this.
too suspicious. Or someone who's just like a fucking lunatic that is like, I'm gonna miss them so much. And I'm like, bitch, they're not dead. This isn't real. What a good show. Actually, I take it back. I hope Tom Sandoval wins at this point. I hope he just fucking is so stupid that he
funniest possible outcome
manages to win.
100%.
All right. I guess we already got Katie's shout out. So,
Oh yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on it or just that it was good?
Well, yeah, I will elaborate because, okay, so Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is an animated show. And I'm not like the biggest fan of like cell shading at all. So the art style kind of takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's fine. The thing that I like about it so much is that it's like it does one of my favorite things where it like takes characters that you already know and kind of like spins them in a way that I think is like really fun. I don't want to say too much about it because I know that you haven't watched it yet. But I don't know. I just think that it's the take that they do for like the characters is just like really interesting and unique. So I don't know. It just was really good. Um, I don't want to say anything else.
All right.
It's good. Everyone should go watch it
What
if you like
do
Spider-Man.
you want to shout out, Kit?
I recently finally subscribed to Dropout, and it's the fucking best. Highly recommend everyone subscribe to Dropout.
What is that?
It's all of the guys that did College Humor. It's their new
Oh,
like
yeah.
app. So they have like, you know, a bunch of their like silly game shows like Game Changer and Make Some Noise, and then they have Dimension 20 and Dungeons and Drag Queens and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's all fucking incredible.
Caitlin's been talking about wanting to like sign up to just binge through Dungeons and Drag Queens or whatever, and then, you know, maybe dip out or whatever. But because I was like, Dropout sounds familiar, but I can't, like, in my mind I was like, is this like a video game thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My shout out last week, Kit, was the Night Rain beta test. And I was like, blah,
So
blah,
good.
blah, 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 talking about it. And Nathan's like, I don't know what any of that means. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
it's fine.
I've embraced not knowing what anyone younger than me is ever talking about.
I mean, that's like how I feel if you guys talk about your reality stuff or wrestling. I'm just like, this isn't for me. And I just like,
Well,
you know,
you should watch wrestling. It's bad.
I mean, I understand wrestling.
Also, to be fair,
but...
I don't really watch wrestling. I just see shit on Instagram
No,
about it.
no. Well, I feel like the wrestling doesn't come up a lot anymore, but I feel like last year, for some reason, it was
Soon.
like every episode there was like wrestling happening. Stuff.
Right, at least
Which I don't care, obviously.
all the shit I see
but...
right now, I'm like, this is boring and I don't give a fuck, except for watching the like weird, like, I always fall down these rabbit holes at work of the AEW versus WWE people. Where,
Oh my god, they're the
they're
worst.
all terrible, but now all the AEW ones are like, Monday Night Raw, 0 viewers. Because it's on Netflix now, so they're not getting like a viewership number.
Ratings.
So they're just like, interesting. AEW had 660,000 viewers this week. Raw, nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, shut up.
Fucking people who pay attention to ratings at all are fucking weird.
Yeah,
But
like
wrestling fans who pay attention to wrestling ratings in particular are a
Weird.
unique brand of freak.
my shout out, butthole lasers.
Hell yeah.
Give trans people butthole
Like-
lasers.
Yeah.
Cr-
Fact.
Chris Rufo, shut the fuck up and kill yourself. Yeah, I don't know if I have a real shout out. Literally all I've been doing is working and watching Rob Zombie movies. So
life's great.
The American dream.
spoiler, you're gonna hear me and some friends covering all of Rob Zombie's movies soon, and it's I don't know,
It's,
Yeah.
better than I thought it was gonna be, but still taking a toll.
yeah, it's thankfully not me.
I've
so.
heard the word
Well-
motherfucker so many times that it's fucking like means
Oh, you should have
nothing
kept
to
a
me
tally. Yeah.
now. Oh my god, I'm telling you, so I had not seen 3 from Hell before, and I like every other word out of like Bill Moseley and Richard Brake's mouth is motherfucker, and I was
Yeah,
like, this
motherfucker.
word means nothing anymore.
It's just how people. I am. I was gonna say I am a criminal of it. I am guilty of it. Is saying like it's motherfucker and like it's the same thing for them.
Man, it's crazy.
It's a motherfucker.
Yep, sure is. All right. We had not talked about next week, but I got an idea for a couple episodes that we have woefully ignored Bigfoot on this podcast, and it's time for some Bigfoot movies.
Oh,
True. In.
shit.
Not since Abominable, way back on episode 1.
We've probably
Well,
done
Badge and Bigfoot
yeah.
and the Bible
I feel
or
like
whatever.
That's
we
not
maybe
real.
had like
That wasn't real.
3,
That's fair.
maybe 4 Bigfoot-ish related.
Bigfoot
things
was
on here.
actually not even in that movie,
But,
so it does not count.
Is it Suburban Sasquatch
I was gonna
time?
say we should start with Suburban Sasquatch.
Yes.
Because there is a fuck ton of movies on Tubi with Bigfoot in the title, but I have to actually figure out what's a movie and what's like a shitty fucking Tubi documentary. But I know Suburban
Yeah.
Sasquatch is on there, and that movie rocks. So that's a good starting point.
Wow.
Um,
All right, we're back
You're
in
gonna have a
it.
great time.
Suburban Sasquatch is so good. I was listening to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie, and they did Fungicide, which is like the same director as Suburban Sasquatch, and that movie also sounds incredible.
I'm in.
Giant people in mushroom costumes. What else do you need? Where it's literally
That's
just
true.
like a mushroom cap on their head, and then just like a big fucking floppy, straight down like thing for the stem. So it just looks shitty. It rules. Like I
Yeah.
need to watch that movie too. But yeah, we'll do.
I don't.
What? Go ahead.
I don't like the idea of a big floppy straight down thing. So
Everybody
I don't
likes
know.
that.
Hairy thighs.
Yeah, so we'll do Suburban Sasquatch next week, and then we'll find some other Bigfoot movies that look dumb as shit to cover. Because there's a lot of them. But there's shit like
Wow.
Boggy Creek, which is boring as fuck, that we are not watching.
Yeah, I watched some like quote unquote found footage. Maybe it's called Willow Creek or something like that,
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
so bad.
There's like
Sasquatch March. It almost rhymes. It's pretty good.
Sasquatch the next 3 months.
Sasquatch.
Until we get tired of it, find something else.
Okay, it's
Well, we
Sasquatch.
gotta go from Sasquatch to Skunk Ape movies. And once we're done with Skunk Ape movies, we'll do Yeti movies.
What I think is we just consider them all Bigfoots, and we'll just do whatever. So
Yeah,
we could do
I agree. I do.
The Wendigo movie. And
That's
shit.
that's really rude to Skunk Ape,
Yeah.
who's his own separate person.
We can watch Bigfoot or Bust, Bigfoot's Wild Weekend.
I watched that movie.
Say,
and it's
I was
bad.
a kid of seed, because I was going to watch it one day, and I saw your review, and I was like, "Oh wait."
He did not have a wild weekend. It was a fucking lie.
Man. Aw.
Like Tahoe Joe 2, Bigfoot Conspiracy. I don't know what that is, but I'm in.
hmm
Dogman Territory, Werewolves in the Land Between the Lakes. There are so many fucking movies on Tubi with like that are Bigfoot related. It's crazy. And like,
Yeah, that's
they all have covers that look like movies, but I know they're just garbage documentaries. Like Searching for Skunk Ape, Florida's Bigfoot,
yeah.
Beyond the Legend, Bigfoot Gone Wild, and you know it's just like nothing but shitty fucking like CGI footage of Bigfoot like walking around. God, this is gonna rock so
Bigfoot
much.
Gone Wild.
Big Stan with Rob Schneider, we could cover that. That's kind of like a Bigfoot movie. Bigfoot, UFOs, and Jesus. I'm in.
Yep.
Oh, this is
Yep.
an actual movie too.
Great.
Done. This is gonna rock. Paranormal Bigfoot. Amityville Bigfoot. God.
Yep.
This will be a Bigfoot podcast from now on. All right. If you'd like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IBSufferPodcast. You can leave us ratings and reviews on iTunes and Spotify and all that garbage if you want. Who cares? You can follow us on Instagram at IBSufferPodcast. You can follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery and Kitrification of Blood. You can see little figurines getting painted.
Yeah.
Little dudes with guns. Big ass guns.
What more could you want? Yeah, little dudes, big guns.
You could follow Katie at Werewolf Face and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface, where you can also see little guys with guns, I assume.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
You can listen to other podcasts, 8K Movie Club.
Mine's actually guns
Big guys
with
with little guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guns have the little guys.
Yeah.
Big guns
Yeah, it's
with
just a
little
gun
guys.
holding a little guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know you have to draw that.
It shoots them out.
Yeah, Suburban Sasquatch next week. A real banger. Katie's probably gonna hate it, I assume.
Yeah, I assume so.
All right. I hope you fucketh me, but why?
Ooh!